Good morning, everybody. Waiting on Jesus here this morning. Lucci is out this morning, and I have an errand to run this morning. So I'm going to miss the first half hour of trading. But as you guys can see up on my screen, I've got the SPY up. As far as economic data is concerned for the week, there's not a ton that's glaring out there, but it's just important to make sure you are aware of the things that are out there. So today you've got ISM Manufacturing Index at 10 Eastern. On Wednesday, you've got the ever pervasive petroleum report. Thursday, you get international trade in goods and services. That's pre-market. And you've got jobless claims at 8:30 as well. That's 8:30 Eastern. In the afternoon at 4:30, you've got the Fed balance sheet. I don't know that there's any surprises coming there. And then Friday, you've got the employment situation. So really some market catalyst events. Maybe you get one this morning at 10. Petroleum, oil's been a hot trade recently. So does it start to run out of steam? At some point, oil starts to reach a price where it's no longer sustainable. It wobbles and falls. That's typically what happens. Might be a nice short at some point, but I'm not fighting that. And then on Thursday, you're gonna get jobs, followed by Friday with the employment situation. So those are more, in my opinion, catalyst types of events. So that's what you've got coming on the economic front. Earnings season starting to pop its head up. If you take a look at the SPY on a bigger picture view, and I'll go to the weekly in just a second, but what I want you to take a look at here is you've got this most recent move from the low of March 23 to the most recent high of July 23. So I've measured that move with a Fibonacci retracement, and I have put an anchored volume weighted average price of that most recent low. So if you take a look at where the SPY is hanging out, it's hanging out right on the anchor. At least it's indicated to open there. On Friday, you had gap fill. There were a lot of you that hung around, and we had really nice trades. If you recall, I had back in here, I had rolled down to 422s for the gap fill. We got the gap fill. I rolled to 418s. So I've got Friday's 418s. I don't know that we get that. If this area holds as support, it would be good. If you look at the overhead technicals, the 8 EMA, the 21, the 50, all overhead bending down. And then what you've got below is you've got a 50% retrace from a Fibonacci standpoint. You have this year's anchored volume weighted average price, which obviously dates back to the beginning of January, also lines up almost to the penny with the 200-day moving average and the fib. So this is an area of interest. This is an area where, in my opinion, the SPY finds itself at a minimum testing. And the reason I say that is because you've got these overhead technicals, the 8, the 21, and the 50 pressing down on it. And there's really not much from a catalyst standpoint that's kind of keeping it up right here. I would look for this area. I would look for this area to get tested. I would love nothing more than for it to test this area, trade sideways a little bit, and let these averages catch up and let them all kind of come together a little bit, and then make another leg higher. I don't know that that is necessarily going to happen, because you have to combine at that point a combination of not just technicals. The market is not just technically driven. It's driven by fear, greed, emotions, reactions to news, wars, et cetera, right? So you can't just make blanket statements just based on technicals. There's other stuff to look at, but what I do look at and what I start with is the technicals. I look at the anchored volume weighted average pricing. I look at the 8 EMA. I pay attention to the 5-day, those types of things, to help me draw a picture and try and find some areas of probability. I don't like to make calls or definitive things that are going to happen. I just use what's in front of me And when I get the direction that I'm looking for, then I trade that direction. I don't make it any more complicated than that. There's no reason for me to go into detail about all of these different types of economic scenarios. There are people far more smarter that get paid a lot of money to do that kind of work. Jay, you there?
Yeah, hold on. I was muted. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out where the hell that share screen button.
No worries, no worries. Yeah, I would trust me. I don't get the. I don't. It's not that I need to run an errand. I got to run wifey to the airport. That's priority.
Are we live to the public or just the room today?
No, to the public.
Oh, we are to the public.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I was trying to figure
I just gave my little rundown and breakdown on SPY, Jay, where we were last week, where we're at, indicated to open, where I think we're headed, and what's on the horizon economically for this week. So that's kind of where I left it. And you did a flow show last night, correct?
Yeah, not a flow show. Steamroom.
Sorry.
Webinar.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we covered, I guess, the more important topics. Just again, we were talking about the greater forces at play here that kind of get in the way of everything else.
Yep.
I'm sure you talked about even some of the damage that's been done in the market. What are you looking for today anyway? Before
all I did was just a technical breakdown of SPY. So I kind of gave what I see and what I'm looking for. So last week you had this little gap filled on SPY. So if you recall, I was trading. I had rolled my SPY puts down to 422, and then on Friday I rolled them to 4.8. No, sorry, on this day I rolled them from 422s to 418s. So I'm in 418s for this Friday. I think that this area, which is a Fibonacci retracement area, a year-to-date volume-weighted an anchored volume-weighted average price for the year, and the 200-day moving average, in my opinion, this area 420 is going to get tested, and that's what I see technically. I don't see anything catalyst-wise that holds us up here and doesn't allow this area to get tested. But I could be wrong. That's why we call it trading, right?
All right. No, I agree with a lot of that on the setup side, without a doubt. Yeah, we spoke about yesterday, and not to make it sound too simplistic, but kind of what we were talking about in the heart, I should say, of the bear market back in 2022, where, again, there are times in the market where there are just greater forces at play, where the algos and machines take control, and a lot of the stuff that has a tendency to work in normal environments fail, and become more difficult.
Yep.
So this chart, let me grab the chart, because I think a picture does a lot better job of getting the point across than I do here. Let me get this here. Hold on. So this was the main premise of what we were covering yesterday, right? So that's a chart. You probably see different variations of it. One from Goldman, the more popular one. Basically, it's a measure of financial conditions. Basically, the main tool that the Fed has to kind of take air out of the balloon or to pump up the balloon when they feel need to. Okay. Yep. Sometimes the Fed lose control of it, and it becomes, in other words, the main driver is more economically, or the credit market, something breaking, which you're probably going to hear more of in the background. This chart, what it's showing us, and you guys can see it, right? Roger came through.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So you can see that pretty aggressive move here over the past, I would say, maybe week to 2 weeks. And this is a topic we covered a lot on the Thursday webinar as well. But basically what this is telling us is that financial conditions have tightened aggressively over the last week or two. Okay, unlike the early stages of this pullback, where a lot of the credit indicators we look at, financial conditions weren't really indicating much of anything going on behind the scenes. This is pretty aggressive. So it can mean a variety of things, right? In 2022, the Fed was doing this purposely to cool things off to tackle inflation. A lot of us don't feel that the Fed is using that playbook anymore because inflation has cooled and they're not interested in breaking anything. But what this could be indicating to us, it could be a number of things, but a lot of things you're going to be hearing about as this continues is something, the Fed broke something, right? Or not necessarily the Fed, the rise of interest rates, especially the move recently with the dollar, broke something similar to what the regional banks we went through back in the spring. So the main takeaway from this, again, you don't want to overanalyze this because this is something well above our pay grade and can't be handicapped. But as this continues, nothing else matters. That's the main point. If financial conditions continue to tighten aggressively as they have, equities will be under pressure. So that's something important to understand here, right? A lot of everything else we look at, from positioning to sentiment to oversold to things you would normally look at in regular, range bound or bull market conditions, really can't be applied here. So that's kind of what. And again, I hate to make things too simple, sound too simple in this market, because nothing ever is, Ranchero, as you know. But this is where both my eyeballs are glued to right now. I think if financial conditions can relax here and this aggressive move slows down, you probably get a decent snapback rally because of how oversold we are, and sentiment as well being washed out. But if this continues, this likely leads to something breaking. We're going to hear about some sort of news event. It doesn't have to be cataclysmic, but then the Fed reaction to it will determine how things go from that point. So again, that's what I have. I know it's not the sexy thing out there. People probably want to hear, about flow or levels or anything else. But right now, that to me, this is the most important chart on the street right now. So that's my spiel.
Okay, I'm with you. I have to run an errand this morning. I've got to run wifey to the airport here in just a few minutes. So I'm going to miss the first half hour of trading, which I don't think is a big deal on a Monday anyway, because it's going to be.
It's funny you say that, because I think the smarter move here is to let things settle till like that 10 o'clock time frame. So
yeah, first day of the month and Mondays are always just kind of a mess anyway. So
it's messy.
Somebody in the chat mentioned, level 2. So I put up a copy of my toss. So the thing is I'm flipping around all of the time. A lot of guys are asking, oh, well, how come you don't have, level 2 up and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, I use a combination of different things, right? So it's what you are comfortable with and what you're comfortable using. This is my think or swim setup. Those of you who are members of the Steamroom know that you have access to my setup. We send you this setup, and then you can use it on your own toss. You can copy it, and then you can change it around to see how, however you see fit. But I always run my time and sales over on the right hand side. I've got my CCI and my RSI up, and I'm always flipping back and forth between this and TradingView. And it's a really simple way for me to be able to just take a look at all of the different dials on the dashboard. Those of you who just used level 2, that's no problem. I just don't roll that way. I'm slightly different than Lucci, who uses just level 2. So for me, it's about feel, and do these other things line up? And I've got to toggle back and forth. So there's your setup.
Topic, Ranchero, before you leave me for dead here, what do I do about the screens? Do I have to touch anything or anything like that?
I don't think so. And Nico and Matt are here helping keeping the trains running on time. So you should be good to go.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah.
The Musk tweeted out, I think it was over the weekend, a couple of days ago, I retweeted it, how to broadcast either a game or share your screen through Twitter, X. So I happened to look at it thinking he made it sound so easy.
It's not, right?
Oh my God. By the way, you know what's involved in it?
No.
Lucci's favorite software. that
Oh, no,
OBS.
it's OBS.
As soon as that hit the screen, I shut it off.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
All right. Well, I'm gonna dip. I'm gonna leave. I'll leave my screen share up, and I'm just gonna switch it to Spy, and these guys can flip back and forth. Matt and Nico can flip back and forth as they see fit. But otherwise, I'll see you in a little
All
bit.
right.
All right.
Good. All right. Let me put the squawk on here. All right, yeah. So we'll see what action looks like. I'm not looking. Those of you who know my style know to begin with. I'm not really looking to do too much first half hour unless sweepers determine otherwise. But kind of want to see. Gonna look to try to get a gauge post 10 o'clock when things calm down a little bit. How things shake out at that point, right? We'll keep a look at keep an eye on the credit markets. We don't want to get in the middle of any tightening there, that's for sure. And I'll shout out and post kind of updates if I see anything going on there. Because again, if long only players, you don't want to go against that tailwind. Credit markets are tightening pretty aggressively. Those who look to short and play some downside momentum, that's kind of your bread and butter. Squawk here. And obviously keeping a close eye on the flow. Nothing really major has been coming out of that front recently, but you never know. Nothing bullish anyway.
Canada manufacturing PMI data for September in just a few seconds. Still estimate per hour was 48.
I do not yet. If I do, still, I'll post it. I'll throw it in market updates. McElliott updated note in market updates.
For Canada manufacturing PMI in September, down half point from the prior.
All right, so we're open here. Let's see what we got going on.
And when next up, we'll get the U.S. manufacturing PMI reading in about 15 minutes, expected 48.9, which be in line with the preliminary.
All right, so you got some economic data coming out, PMI, but you got Fed speak all over the yard today. Here's what the Fed speak looks like. Dollar at highs, where is, oh yeah, so the credit a little bit tight early. So Tesla delivery numbers, would they miss a bit? I guess they were off by a little bit. Let's see what the early action looks like. Looks like a little call flow there early. Nothing major though. You can tell by the sound effects or the lack thereof, kind of sluggish open here. And the indexes are flat now, right? Basically, yeah. Tesla Fed 480s, flush them down the toilet. That's useless. Here are the most active lines off the bell in individual name. Neo, some closing activity, Rivian, Tesla seeing a little weekly call activity out of the money 260s. SMCI, huh? SMCI up another 6. I think it was higher than that Friday. You got NVIDIA, a little call flow there early on, weeklies as well. Up 9. The semis again, right? The semis have been outperforming even throughout last week. A coin weekly 80s in a sweep. They paid $2. Oh shit! Where'd I go? That's cheap action. Doku. You got some cheap action in RKT. It looks like mostly NASDAQ names seeing some of the weekly bull flow out there. Zoom, ZM, some weekly action cheap. And interesting with yields pushing higher.
Sky News reporting the UK is set to cancel plans for a northern leg of a high-speed rail line.
NVTA. Jan 50-cent calls in NVTA. Is Kathy still in that thing? Someone Kathy had a big position, I think. PLTR March 30. So way out of the money, March 30's PLTR. I wanted to check the OI changes on the PLTR. Yeah, so PLTR Friday, you had some action in it. Kind of messy, but it looks like they added a few call positions there from Friday. NVIDIA, November 3rd, 490s. Where is that, sweet?
Reminder here in about 5 minutes time, we're going to get some data. The S&P Global Brazil Manufacturing, the S&P Global U.S. Manufacturing PMI expected at 48.9. The U.S. Supreme Court reportedly rejecting a challenge to New York rent control system.
So what's this? 11 November 3rd, 490s. There it is. 1,000 of them total there. Economic data was 9:45, 5 minutes. Little breather in the VIX off the bell.
Brazil Central Banker Campos Neto saying continued high long-term interest rates in the U.S. is worrying, and obviously we can start to see more accelerated outflows.
Strong dollar continues. A little more action in Zoom Weekly, ZM. So you got 1,700 plus Zoom weekly 76 calls. Opening activity there, and then you got a little action on the weekly 74 line as well. PLTR, a little more bull flow. That's some deterioration in breath you're hearing.
U.S. manufacturing PMI reading expected 48.9, which would be in line with preliminary. The U.S. manufacturing PMI September final in just a few seconds.
Netflix, I haven't seen anything yet on Netflix. Let me see any volume.
49.8, 49.8, about 48.9 expectation.
So PMI, you got a beat.
So the index rising to 49.8 from 47.9 in August. A year ago, we've seen at 52 as well. This is the highest we've seen since April 2023.
You got some deterioration, breath, a little further deterioration, but could be maybe rotating into NASDAQ stuff. That's what it looks like flow-wise. Damn, dollar's strong, huh?
We have posted out the US S&P manufacturing PMI. Final report on the page for anyone interested. In commodities, we're seeing Brent oil futures turning negative as well, after rising by $1 a barrel earlier in the session.
Crude, turn red. What the hell's going on with the put to call here? Everybody buying calls? Is that what's going on? Jesus Christ. That's not what you would like to see, huh?
Shortly expecting the Bank of England bill sale results.
Yeah. Goldman looking for, well, the trading desk looking for possibly a chase in some of these NASDAQ names and ahead of earnings, which you could definitely see happen. Again, tell me what financial conditions look like, and there's a lot I agree with. That's kind of the main burden. GS going large mega cap stocks cheap this morning relative to market. Yeah. Tesla.
20 minutes or so into the trading session, the NASDAQ composite is up about 49 points. The Russell 2000 is down 0.6%, and the S&P at 4285 at down about 2.5 points.
So the Bank of England ATF bill sale operation cover ratio is at 3%. The Bank of England
I don't see much of any change in complexion post economic, that post the PMI. Maybe action slowed down a little bit.
670 million sterling of
Pretty quiet overall
7 years.
the first half hour here. If you like these NASDAQ names, you kind of want to see post 10 o'clock if you get plenty more fades. Outside of quick scalps.
In 7 minutes time now, please, of the hour, to get the US ISM manufacturing PMI for the US representing month of September. Forecast 47.9, prior 47.6, with a range of 50 to 46.9. US ISM manufacturing prices paid, forecast 49.
And you got the ISM coming now as well.
You're listening to Trade the News.
Oh, yeah.
US ISM employment index, priority 48.1, and the new orders index, priority 46.8.
Sigma Lithium SGML announced achieving record peak production of 890 tons per day, equivalent to annualized 320,000 tons per year. Sierra Gulf, Michael Lima.
I don't see a whole lot out there, but it's been the story of my life the past few weeks. NVIDIA, couple cute sweeps for that name, nothing huge, but opening action. And some weekly activity in select NASDAQ growth plays. I think this is a volatility bet, right? UVIX, small sweep there. 60 grand. That's breath deteriorating a little bit more, but you can see it down 150. NASDAQ up 50. Carvana, a little weekly put action. You hear me stress the word little a lot. The reason I do, I don't want people getting excited over $30,000 sweeps. You got credit certainly not confirming any strength this morning, not that there is any. Dollar new highs of the morning. Long NVIDIA short SPY has been the trade of the year. Forget the day. let's see what we got here. Dow down 130, ES kind of flat, NASDAQ up a little 50, Russell down a little less than 1%. Crude, red, down about 80 cents now, crude.
Manufacturing PMI for September, forecast 47.9, prior 47.6, to the range of 50 to 46.9 expected. New prices paid, forecast 49, new prior 48.4, the employment index for a prior rate of 48.9, and the new orders index for prior rate of 46.
Some of the uranium plays seeing some protection.
Spending by third month, is forecast to 0.5% from the prior 0.7%.
SMCI, you got a little put sweep, about 60 grand. It looks like NVIDIA, some tack on weekly call flow.
The dollar index just coming off a new session high here, 106.72. The dollar yen 149.85, within 15 pips of that 150 mark in dollar yen. The euro 105.17, down 55 pips. The dollar index continues to trade right near its best levels in about 10 months.
General Motors having a little furlough of 160 workers in Ohio and Indiana due to the UAW strike.
You might have some put selling, a little put selling in ENPH.
Hughes Burrell saying that by coming to Kyiv, EU foreign ministers sent a strong message of support for Ukraine.
Not 100% sure though. We need to see more action there to confirm that. SMCI, some more weekly puts tacking on. So weekly 262.5 puts. SMCI. Interesting spot, that ratio chart too.
Remaining of leading the US ISM manufacturing PMI.
All right, taking a look here. Nothing looks too hot. You got NVIDIA. Seems like the only thing they really are interested in this morning. Some weekly bull flow and a few other things. Credit not doing a thing. Not indicating any strength, that's for sure. Put the calls showing a bullish bias early to a bit of an extreme, so they can catch some bulls if they want them. Dollar strength.
10 seconds.
And you got the ISM coming now in 5 seconds.
47 spot.
That's the manufacturing at 49 versus the 47.9 expectation. Construction spending at 0.5%.
0.5% as expected.
Prices paid component for ISM at 43.8 versus 49 prior. Deployment at 51.2 versus 48.5 prior. New orders at 49.2 versus 46.8 prior.
You got a beat there as well. Doesn't look like the economy's crumbling, that's for sure.
Looking at final revision to the US construction spending, the will provide up to 0.9% from 0.7%.
Enlight ENLT, they secured PPA for the Pupin wind farm in Serbia. I could remember Lima Tango.
Coin weekly spec action.
Will post its first Instagram post soon that will include a brief welcome video from Fed Chair Powell.
Powell speaking, but I don't think he's talking about anything important, right? Zoom.
Modest bid here for U.S. equities after the September ISM manufacturing prices paid component came in below estimates.
Posted after US on-site manufacturing PMI September 2023 report on the favorable employee that is interested. So the report notes that the
Some VIX selling helping out here a little.
9 months of contraction following a 30-month period of expansion. JP Morgan CEO Donald Trump interviewed on Bloomberg TV. Said the market outlook for the economy is still okay.
What was that? Jamie Dimon.
JP Morgan CEO appearing in the Bloomberg TV interview saying that the markets are healthy and the economy is still okay.
QQQ October 2nd, 362 calls. Seeing some nibbling. Amazon. Let me see what everyone looks like. You got an order in Amazon, Feb 140, some decent size. Not sure if it rolls or anything like that, but nice size. And you got SMCI, looks like some November call buying and weekly puts against it. Sam Mary, Charlie Igloo. ZS. That's a nice size sweep right there. ZS. Short dated. Up 6. These things all had a nice bump up today this morning. Colorados. HA, that's that Hawaiian Electric name. More put action. Not a lot of put action this morning. Put sweeper activity, I should say. I mean, as I look at the put the call, you don't need me to tell you that. Put the call should level out as more volume comes in. It's a little exaggerated because it's early, but still pretty one-sided. Let me refresh this. There we go. Utility ETF XLU, some put buying, October's.
From Jamie Diamond saying the consumer remains in good shape but is still spending money.
A little morning video, weekly activity.
JP Morgan CEO Diamond says the US economy is strong, but that's the here and now.
Jamie Diamond. Puts. You got D-Dog puts, seeing some nibbling. October 13th puts in D-Dog. And you got snow puts, seeing a little nibbling. Why are they seeing put action? They're down. What a strange day, Bob. Is it just semis? No, because there's some names with a little bit of flowing. I don't know what the hell they're doing. Retail ETF, put sweep XRT. You got 10-year yields high in the morning.
From Jamie Diamond saying oil prices and trade restructuring are adding to inflation.
Schwab, April 45 puts in a sweep opening Schwab.
Interest rates go to 7%, so the answer is yes.
They just don't like this Schwab. It's supposed to be away from the mess.
Some of these Diamond comments we would point out, he's just
CEO
reiterating.
buying. Put sweepers don't seem to care. Spy little put action now. I don't see much. It could listen. I mean, on a case by case, name by name basis, maybe we see something interesting. But I'm not gonna hold my breath today. We'll get long in NVIDIA. His thing is The money market safe on Thinkorswim, you wondering? Oh, yes, Schwab. I forgot. I keep forgetting about that deal. That's right. I still didn't fix 2 of the accounts there. I got to take care of all that. And ACAT. NVIDIA seeing a little weekly put action there now, too. Mixing in. Anywho, I just don't see anything too exciting this morning. If a couple of these names were down, maybe it were worth getting involved in intraday off the earlier action we saw in some of these things, but I don't want to chase any green, that's for sure.
All futures extend losses with US crude down now by $1 a barrel.
Crude taking a bath here early. What a reversal again. A couple of you guys were looking for that crude short. Huh? Starting to see more of this put sweeper activity in a few select names. So action mixing up a bit. As far as the conditions tightening being an issue, not a main problem here yet that I see. Not being, not providing a benefit either, just kind of a non-factor so far. Target, little weekly sweep. Target.
All the cryptocurrency index at neutral 50 out of 100.
What's our momentum indicator? Anything NVIDIA, of course. Oh, not even just on the radar. XLU puts. Nada. Snow, October 13th, 144 puts. And Google, some weekly calls.
TV.
Nice bounce on Tesla. Let's check out this order. PayPal March 52 and a half. I'm going to revise that.
Anything good happening, Jay?
Some of these NASDAQ names seem short-dated action. A couple decent-sized bets. But that's the extent of it. Mostly NASDAQ names. And you had a couple of these NASDAQ names bounce basically early on. That's the gist of it. ZS, you know that name, right? Is that the name? One of those names I know.
Zscaler, yeah.
Yeah. You had some buying. One of the better size sweeps out there. October 13th, 162 and a half. Up 5 though already.
Okay. If you guys, those of you who follow along with what I look at technically, this is continuation from this gap up, which dates back to Friday. So there's an anchor, which at the time was the volume weighted average price from the day, and take a look at where SPY is at and how it's reacting. I mean, this was where I started measuring. You know, you had a high that couldn't take over here, and then you had these series of lower highs. So I'm anchored off of this, and I'm gonna anchor off of the open to establish the VWAP. So where's Monday? This is Monday. Here's your open. So let's get the VWAP on there.
VWAP.
Bang. So right now, currently, these are your zones. If you're scalping, and again, my lean is to the downside because of what I see on the bigger picture. So I'm looking at areas like this to see if I'm going to be able to catch this for a short. So far, you could have had an entry here. You get spikes up. So if you get a spike up that keeps going, I step out of the way. And then if it breaks down again, that's also another entry. This is an entry here. And I'm looking at the VWAP right now, and here's your low of the day. So I'm going to anchor off of that just to see if I can get a feel for where we're at. But, you know, everybody's going to talk about, oh, this is chop and that's chop. And it's like, well, of course it's chop. And that's how you make money, is by finding the areas where you're going to find support and resistance, and you take appropriate risk at those places. So, I don't see a ton to be gained, but those are decent areas for some quick hits. So that's what I see right now.
Meta, some of the big boys are seeing interest as well. That's kind of the Goldman call out this morning that you may see buying of these larger cap, the names they've been buying all year, basically.
Any activity in Amazon this morning?
Yeah, Amazon, you got some Fed call buying.
Okay.
Nvidia, I think it was November, caught a couple of sweeps there. You got Meta. These are weekly. Meta. So the larger names are seeing some bullish activity.
All right, so you got some good activity then in the Nasdaq names. That's probably helping SPY hang around and not just lose the bottom here. But looks like there's opportunity. You just got to go out there and measure and look for your areas of support and resistance to take some risk. But to your point, there's nothing super special out there right now.
No. Well, I just hate chasing moves. You know, if these things maybe fade and see some action, maybe worth playing. But like you said, kind of get some spots lined up, and if they're there type of thing.
Yeah, chase the gap or wait for VWAP, right?
Right. Forgot that line. Chase the gap or wait for VWAP. I like that word, VWAP.
Well, it's an A, so people say VWAP. I'm like, well, I don't get it because there's no O there. So whatever, I'm the idiot, but I say VWAP. So Tesla, you had anybody who was trading this, you had a nice gap fill on Tesla to the upside, and it's banging its head here at that 251 area. So something to keep an eye on and look for your entry. Any Tesla buying today, this morning?
There was a little small weekly activity.
Some
if I remember
nibbles?
correctly, nothing too noteworthy.
Bunch of clicks on pins. That'll make Lucci happy. Some Google. What are the guys in the momentum scanner room looking at? Pins on there. Okay, so they're looking at pins for the short. We haven't seen any really big sweep money coming in. So the FSR and PayPal, like that's unusual for PayPal.
FSR is puts, I think, no?
Yeah, it looks like
Yeah.
puts. PayPal is calls, FSR is puts.
Yeah, that's kind of mixed out there right now.
Yeah.
Schwab saw some more put buying.
Yeah, they hate Schwab.
I know, that's exactly what I said.
And from a technical standpoint, there's not a good reason to be a buyer of Schwab.
Wow. Surprised how, and it hasn't been acting right for a while. CEO, I think that's the one, right? Didn't the CEO stick out his head and say, I'm buying the stock? He bought it a couple times.
Who at Schwab?
Yeah. No, that wasn't the one.
I don't know. I'll have to go. Let me go check that.
I think it was him. But I could be wrong.
It looks like the boys are going to shut down the public portion of today's segment. So again, if you guys are interested in joining the Steamroom, there is a 2-week trial for $7.99. And if you are a trader and you want to check us out, even if you're not, I think you can throw down $7.99 to check it out for 2 weeks. Matt's just posted a link to that, and you guys check it out. And otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow.
Good luck, everybody.
Jay, I'm gonna